Hello, I'm Roberto, and we are learning Rust. Here with us, like always, Luciano. Where are
Hello,
you?
everyone.
Left, right. If you don't know this channel, in this channel we talk about Rust and technologies. You can find the recordings of the previous stream on YouTube, and if you are watching this on YouTube, we stream every day, Monday 6 p.m. public time on Twitch. Today we are going on where we left last time. Last time is more than a month ago, I think, but well, we are going there. We're going on from there, and we are doing a small application to send out the first chapter of books to people that subscribe to a newsletter. The book is obviously a book from Luciano, and the newsletter is obviously the new Luciano's newsletter. We are doing this with Rust and Lambdas, and last time we prepared some scaffolding, some Lambdas that were empty Lambdas, and we are going on from there today. So we have empty Lambdas in Rust. We have some template file for SAML to, which call it SAML? Yeah. Some, not without the L. SAML is something else. Okay. Sorry,
Exactly.
confusion.
We don't want to do SAML, for sure.
Yeah, sorry. SAM. Everything is called the same. When you have three letters, how many combination can you have? Anyway, so Luciano, we are there. Do you want to show the full schema of what we are doing so we do a better recap with some visual material under us?
Yes, so let me do a screen share. Hopefully you can see this beautiful diagram. And sorry for the white mode. Hopefully it's not blinding you. I don't know actually if this thing can do dark mode. Can it? I don't know. Okay, let's ignore it for now. So
I'm old, so I prefer white mode. I have more energy in my retina to power my brain.
Exactly. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit, maybe a bit too much. Okay, there isn't anything in between in terms of zoom, so hopefully this will work. So the idea is that, as Roberto said, we want to build, I guess, if we want to generalize it a little bit, the idea is that you can build something like these tools for marketing where you can provide a benefit to somebody that subscribes a newsletter. And this benefit is a file of some kind. It can be like a white paper, it can be, I don't know, assets that people might want to use that you can give away for free, examples, templates, whatever it makes sense for you. In my case, is a book website, and to incentivize people to find out more, they can subscribe to the newsletter, they can read a chapter for free, and then we can use that as a way to reach out to them and maybe, I don't know, send a discount, send a reminder that there is a new edition, whatever that is. It's generally, this is a common marketing thing that you get subscription in exchange of something because the subscription can be valuable long term. So something that you can probably do with MailChimps and the likes. I've been using ConvertKit, but all these tools offer like millions of features that I don't really need, and they tend to be very expensive because like they are fully fledged marketing tools. So we're trying to build a cheaper self-hosted version of something like that. So we came up with a minimal set of requirements. The idea is that we should be able to generate a form. So you can see here where my mouse is, that the first interaction with the user is a form. The user enters the email. This form is generated for a specific campaign. So you can imagine that maybe this can become a SaaS at some point, but even as a single user, you might want to manage multiple newsletters and multiple rewards. So multiple lists with attached rewards. So campaign ID is basically one configuration where if the user subscribes, ends up in a specific list, receives a specific file. Then the next step is if the user submits. So there is a first Lambda that needs to render this form. Then if the user submits that form, there needs to be a backend that can process the form. So process the subscription, validates email and everything else. If everything is correct, we are going to send this information into a queue, and this queue is going to be processed from another Lambda that needs to make sure that the user email is actually valid. And how can we do that? The common way to do that is basically you send another email to the user saying, can you please confirm your registration to this newsletter? There is a button, they click yes. So here we have a first Lambda that sends this email, and then we have another Lambda that receives the click yes from the user. Finally, we have
that one, but is the confirm subscription, yeah.
Yeah, this one. Oh, actually, sorry, you're right. So we have something else in between. This is more for statistics. we can track if the user opens the email. And there are different ways to do that. We're probably going to use like a transparent pixel that when it gets loaded, it has a specific tracking ID and we can associate with a specific email that was sent. So we basically know, did they open the email? Maybe they didn't click, and that kind of statistics that we can do. So there is a Lambda dedicated to that. Finally, if they click, they were going to confirm the subscription. And we also have another Lambda for an unsubscribe button. So every time we're going to send an email, we can provide a URL. If they click that URL, it's going to end up in this Lambda that will unsubscribe them. Hopefully all of that makes sense. Any questions, please drop it in the chat. But yeah, that should be a quick overview of all the Lambdas we have. Then I am kind of glossing over all the integrations, like most of them are HTTP. We have a queue here. We also have Event Bridge just as a way to dispatch events that maybe we can use to build extensions. We have DynamoDB for storing data. We have S3 to store the assets. So we're probably going to need an email template. We are going to need our reward file, like a PDF, a zip file, whatever that is.
Okay, so we have the empty Lambdas now, and we have a template, some file somewhere in the project. Do we need to finish that template?
Yes, so let's go back to the code and let's quickly review the template we created. So this is a pretty standard SAM template. So we are using SAM to do infrastructure as code. We are not going to deploy anything manually. SAM is pretty cool because when you do Rust, can compile for, can use Cargo Lambda, which is the tool we're going to be using to do the compilation. And it's going to automatically know how to compile the Lambdas in Rust correctly. So we need to define a bunch of stuff. So we have some defaults for our Lambda functions. We have the S3 bucket defined here. We have the first DynamoDB table, the second DynamoDB table. We have a queue for the emails. And then we start to have some Lambdas. So the first form rendering Lambda, subscription Lambda, and the send confirmation Lambda. And we were doing some refactoring just before starting this stream, but we basically created all the different Lambdas that we think we need. We didn't create all of them as infrastructure as code, so probably the next step is to create all these Lambdas as infrastructure as code and then do a test deployment. These Lambdas are not going to be doing anything useful, but at least we can see if everything comes together correctly. The other thing we can do, we can check here visualization of the structure of our template. By the way, I'm using the AWS plugin for VS Code. And if you have a recent version, you can open some templates with Application Composer that gives you a little bit of a visual feeling for what things look like. So like we have an API gateway connected to several Lambdas. We have a queue. This queue can trigger another Lambda. And then different Lambdas have access to different tables in DynamoDB. Sounds good?
Yeah. So let's go on adding the other Lambdas that are all HTTP Lambdas in the end, because we already have the one that takes from the queue. The other ones are all free. I think we miss free HTTP Lambdas.
Yes, so we do have the form rendering. We do have the subscription. So we want to have the unsubscribe, email opened.
That subscribe function is the confirm subscription. Confirm subscription. Subscription is the one that comes from the email.
Here. Yeah, send confirmation.
Okay, the send confirmation. But then when you click in the email, which Lambda do we call? Confirm subscription.
Confirm subscription. So we need to do that.
Okay. Yeah, because subscribe and confirm subscribe. The names are.
Yeah, so what do? Confused. Let's do this one, confirm subscription. So let me subscribe function. Let's copy all of the stuff for now. Send confirmation function. Let's put it here.
I was complaining that you have the same name.
Sorry, I'm checking the chat. We have a question from Tommaso. Is this a workspace? Is there some packages shared? Good question. So this is a workspace. Yeah, we have here a cargo toml that links, this is at the root level, and links all the different lambdas, which to be tested. I think this should work. And I think once we are ready to deploy, hopefully we'll see everything working. But the idea should be that, yes, here you have all the different lambdas. Every lambda has its own cargo toml, so manages all their dependencies independently. But being a workspace, basically the dependencies are shared here, and hopefully it should be a little bit faster to manage all the shared dependencies.
Can we create a shared crate between those? Because we will work with Dynamo from different lambdas.
Mhm.
So I don't think we are going to replicate the code to read and write models to the cargo, to the DynamoDB table in every different lambda. We will have a common piece of code that will do that for us, correct?
Yes, so we can create another package that then we can import in the specific projects where we need it. So we can do like cargo new, I don't know, shared stuff. I don't know what's a good name. And then we can import in specific projects here. We can say, of course, we need to link it here. And then I believe that the syntax is just here. You specify as a dependency. Your shared stuff library.
We will arrive there. Cool.
And I think it might be a cool thing to do for, we'll probably have some kind of shared types, maybe like models, that kind of stuff. Okay, so what were we doing? Template YAML.
Template. You have to change the name because it's duplicated and it's not happy probably of
So
duplicated
this
names.
one was, which one were we saying?
Are we doing the send confirmation?
No, we already did that. This
confirm subscription. Sorry, we were doing the confirm subscription.
Okay, so this one is confirm subscription. And then what do we use as a URL? Something like subscription. Subscription
coming
ID.
from an email is better for it to be a get.
I think so. And confirm. I know this is not very RESTful, but I don't have any better
from
idea.
An email, you can't be completely RESTful.
Okay, so that email, that particular Lambda, what does it need? Let's go back here. Send confirmation. No, this is confirm subscription. So it needs to validate everything, and that's fine. Then it needs to create a pre-signed URL. So we will need the permissions.
So you need access to this free bucket.
Thomas is saying REST is overrated when simplicity is enough. Okay, I'm glad that you support our non-purism in RESTful design.
Yeah, the alternative is our GraphQL code. Joking. I'm joking.
Okay, so create a present URL to get the reward file, update the subscription record. So we also need access to the subscription table. Send event bridge event, respond with a redirect to the present URL. Okay, so for now, what we need to do is DynamoDB read policy for campaigns table. Do we need that? Probably not. We need
the campaign table itself. No, because if we rely on the subscription, we already know what is. Do we know what is the gift that we have to give, or the gift to give is just in the campaign?
Oh, good point.
Reward is free key. The reward is in the campaign, so we need access to the campaign to know which reward to send out.
Okay, so we need read policy for this one, but this one needs to be CRUD policy because we will need to read and write. I think it's called CRUD policy. Let's see.
Why it was called write in the?
Yeah, CRUD policy.
Okay. Because write is I only write. Okay.
I think so. Here we can read and write. Now, I don't know if there is an easy way to expand this policy. But basically, these are shortcuts. These are like pre-made policies where you just pass the variables.
We don't need the SQSQ here.
We don't need this one.
But we need the S3 bucket to be able to create the pre-signed URL for the S3 bucket. I don't know which policy it is.
Good question.
Is it a read?
Good question. We might have to create a custom one here, because I think pre-signed URLs, they have their own permission.
But try with a read. Worst case is telling us you don't have.
Yeah, fair
You
enough.
have no power here.
And we don't need this one. Okay, so what do we need here is not the email queue, but let's call it, what do we got? Resources bucket. This guy. Okay, for now this should be enough. We are skipping over a few details, like we wanted to use event bridge as well. For now, we are not doing all of that.
We can add it later as a last step.
Yeah, it's not necessary feature. It's more.
Yeah, it's not needed for the MVP.
Yeah, it's more of a convenience if we want to easily create extensions. For instance, every time somebody subscribes, we can store, I don't know, some information somewhere later for analytics, like whatever, create a Parquet file with statistic data. Okay, so we did the confirm subscription. Did we do the email open? We didn't do that.
No.
So let's do a shitty copy paste because I'm lazy. So
lazy will be asking ChatGPT to do that.
Email open
or Copilot
function. That means you should trust ChatGPT, which I don't. So email
Good.
Open.
And again, this is a get of a pixel, correct? So
this is a get of a pixel, but how do we identify a single email?
By the subscription ID. Instead of /confirm, you say /open.
Could work.
I mean, in the subscription ID, you should have the email, correct?
Yes.
So, enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what do we need? We need campaign stable, probably not.
No, because we don't have to send out the reward at this step. We just have to check if the subscription ID exists and probably write to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We have.
Let's use a write because we will probably need to do an update, but write should work for that. So for now, let's just keep it simple. I think when we get to debug this stuff.
Yeah, it could be that we need more power just to check, for example, if the subscription exists or whatever.
So Thomas is asking, is it attached to a campaign? Yes, the subscription itself is attached to a campaign. So here
because it has a campaign ID.
We have subscription ID, campaign ID.
Ah, yes, we have to update the open-edat.
And
Send
then
that, open-edat.
Similarly, we have the unsubscribe, and then I think we have covered all the lambdas. So if we go here, we have form rendering, subscribe, confirm subscription, email open. We have
we have 6 lambdas, 4 are HTTP, and 1 is SQS.
So only the unsubscribe is missing. So let's do that.
And unsubscribe, like the email open, it needs the same rights because you have to update the subscription as unsubscribed, and you don't do anything else. I mean, you're not one of those guys that say, "Oh, why are you leaving? Tell me why you are leaving."
Do we just create a URL for unsubscription?
For security, you mean?
Yeah, just to avoid people to randomly try to unsubscribe you.
But, well, our subscription IDs are good.
Fair enough.
Is 128-bit.
Yeah, it's not just an email. So yeah, maybe that's secure enough.
No, it's not secure enough. You should probably add some kind of of a signature to it, like you do a get with a signature computed with your private key, computed with you have to prepare that with your public key and check it back when it's back in. But let's not go there.
Yeah, I guess when we send the email and we need to create the unsubscribe URL, it could be something like I don't know, token.
Yeah,
we put here some JWT token.
Yes, a JWT signed token that certifies that the link was created by us. So if you don't have that piece, you're not going to get in and we're not going to do anything. But that is something that we can do later. Now, if you use a subscription ID that is a 128-bit UUID, for now is secure enough.
So okay, comment.
Tommaso, crypto is overrated when simplicity is enough. Yeah, I think we are gaining simplicity is enough.
Definitely for this use case, at least at the beginning, we can stay simple. Yeah. If we make a SaaS or if we start to use it in production, could be worth at some point adding a bit more security.
Luciano, if you use this in production, we have to put rate limits in place before somebody starts to make you pay like $1,000 billion of lambdas.
Through that. Okay, did I forget to update all the... No, this one is correct. This one is not. So this is...
There was a command to... Okay, there was a command to check if the template was correct, right?
Some validate lint. Ooh, there is a new version. Should I install it?
Nah, next time. I mean, 115 to 117, what can be wrong?
Brew, upgrade, some.
We are all going to do.
This might take forever. This might burn my laptop.
You have one of those fancy something laptops?
Yes. No available formula. Did you mean SAD? Yes, I am SAD. I think it's AWS SAM CLI. There you go. Now I wonder what is SAD.
It's like SAD, but more complicated.
Yeah. It's like SAD, but when you are depressed. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Version. Some CLI. Oh no. I want to do validate. Come on. Do the thing. Valid. And if we go here, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another one. So if we do some validate and some build and some deploy, this might take forever because it needs to compile, but let's try. This might really put myself on fire.
You can also enable this beta feature.
I think it's also going to build in parallel all the lambdas. So if you see me frozen, you know what's going on.
You don't have enough cores. You need an M3 Max Pro Ultra, how it's called.
There is now M4, but only for iPads. So I need to start coding on an iPad.
The M4 is already out?
It's already out, but only for iPads, for whatever reason.
Why? What's the difference?
I don't know. I think it's just that they didn't have time to do laptops yet.
They want to get rid of laptops. You buy an iPad and a docking station that cost $20,000. So you're done.
It would be a very Apple move.
They are converging on only one platform.
Okay, Thomas is asking, did you try Pulumi as infrastructure as code? Actually,
I tried Pulumi once for a personal project in Python and not in TypeScript. And obviously, trying that in Python, you find absolutely nothing online because everybody is using TypeScript. I still have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I like the idea of code driving the infrastructure instead of like in Terraform YAML files, because I really hate YAML and it's very prone to errors. Instead, when you have a language, if it's wrong, it's going to tell you, I don't understand that this is indented in the wrong way. But I have fear that people start to do strange stuff, like calling APIs to configure the API based on API calls, and I don't want people doing that. I mean, it gives more freedom than a Terraform YAML file, but sometimes if you give too much freedom, people start to think they are smart and they start to do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But if I have to work it on my own, to use it on my own, I know myself, so I would use it.
I have similar feelings with CDK, which is like the official AWS version of something that looks like Pulumi. So you write classes, you instantiate classes to say, I want a Lambda, I want an S3 bucket, and then I want to give permissions to the Lambda to read from the S3 bucket. And you do all of that stuff by using classes and instances of classes. And yes, very similar concerns. So it looks really good at first, especially if you have nice autocomplete and everything. But then you see people doing all sort of interesting things. And then if you just jump into a new project, you'd need to spend a lot of time just figuring out, like, how do we organize things here?
Yeah, if you have a small project or if you have a very strong hand, keeping the direction can be very good, powerful. But if you are in a lot of people in the same team, or if you want to use that for the full company, oh my God. It's going to diverge a lot.
Okay, let's see. Starting the deployment. Nice.
6 upload were the 6 Lambda artifacts.
Also, Tommaso, you switch directly to invoking Google Cloud directly. Yeah, I guess the problem with that is that it's not very easy to, like, the thing that I like about infrastructure as code is that you just declare what is your end state in your template, in whichever format the template exists. And then you just tell the system that you use, Pulumi, Terraform, CDK, SAM, or whatever. You just tell, I don't know what you need to do. This is what I want you to end up with. So it's very good at kind of figuring out exactly how to synchronize your current state with your desired state and do all the necessary API calls. If you just do API calls yourself, then you need to write all of that synchronization logic, which is probably
also,
not easy.
when I was in AWS, I was doing calls with AWS CLI to create infrastructure. And the problem was when in the middle of the script there was any error, you were stopping in the middle of the deployment script. You were not aware of where you were in the creation of the stuff, so you had to scratch everything and start the script from the beginning, hoping that this time it was going through. So when you have a lot of resources, the problem is the data. If you stop a break in the middle, you run it again, it will just basically go on from where it left. Instead, yes, you can write a script that does the same, but it's complicated, or not.
Yeah, and the other thing is that if you have an issue, like at least, for instance, Terraform, maybe you have a variable degree of confidence there, but with CloudFormation, it's very good at figuring out if something breaks in between in your deployment, rolling back exactly to the previous state. So you generally have this extra safety net that if you mess up something in your infrastructure as code, you're not going to create an outage because of that. Like, it's going to be able to, 99% of the cases, revert to a good state, which is also something really difficult if you have to do it yourself.
Okay, now
deployment is happening.
The script finished running?
No, it's still creating here, I think. This is the list of events. Here we can see the list of resources being created, a lot of them, because every Lambda has permissions, roles, and DynamoDB tables, SQSQ, S3 bucket. Okay, I think it might have finished now.
It's creating a lot of stuff so you can pay.
Oh no, it's still creating the API gateway. Yeah, definitely, I can. Oh no, it did finish here. So we do have a URL that we can call.
Yeah, but if it's still working.
Let's see, did it finish here? Oh no, sorry, this was the list of events. I think now with create complete, it's finished the entire stack.
Okay.
So the list of resources, yeah, everything is complete. So we can go, for instance, to API gateway, if I can see it. Where is it? REST API, this guy. And here we see that we have all our APIs mapped out. I don't know if this is readable enough, but there is form, campaign ID, we have a get and a post, subscription ID, confirm, open, and subscribe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that if we try any of these APIs, they should just tell us like hello world, because I think this is the default. So if we do
we can
this,
try with a curl to call it.
If we do a curl of this, and then we say, what did we call it? Subscription, for instance, and we do A, B, C, D, and then we say open. I think that's a valid one. Oh, missing authentication token. Did I use the right URL? Let's see.
Do we need an authentication token?
I don't think so. Oh, it's opened. There you go. Hello world,
Okay.
This is an AWS Lambda HTTP request. And then,
so instead of giving you a 404, it gives you a missing authentication when you
I think
get
so.
the wrong URL.
Let's see if we do, if it also gives us a 404. How do you see the with I? It's a 403. Yeah, I guess you need to do like a catch-all URL and then handle it yourself. But I think by default, you need to explicitly say that an endpoint doesn't have authentication. Otherwise, I think it's going to default to either an API key or IAM authentication. I'm not sure.
Oh, well, anyway, we don't care.
Okay, so what do we do next? Where do we start?
If we start from the beginning, so Lambda that serves a form with insert here your email for campaign hello
Okay.
world.
So form rendering. Cool. So we do have this one that was created just by using cargo lambda init. Actually, let me do a commit at this point. Am I committing any target folder or something like that? I don't think so. Okay. Git commit scaffolding of all lambdas and updated template.
So I'm not the only one switching letters.
So this is the URL if people want to check out the code.
Okay, cool. How do we answer HTML through Rust? We can write in that line 13 directly the HTML in a multi-string. It will be very rudimental.
It is already text HTML, so
yeah,
that kind of makes it easy.
Or there is any templating created for Rust to do so?
Oh, there are a few, but do we care right now?
No, not now.
I guess what we can do, so we need to read information from the request. Let's do a quick thing. Let's do fn create form, right? That takes what? Ooh, look at that. Almost what we want. Almost. Not exactly, but close enough. Or I guess, do we want to include this in an iframe? Okay, let's keep it simple and let's start with the idea of an iframe. So let's do all of this. But what is the parameter?
Where do you put the iframe in another website?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because generally you have like a marketing page where at some point in your we are doing this X, Y, and Z. Now, if you subscribe here, you're going to get something. So there will be some kind of widget in that page.
Yeah. Okay.
I can show you how we do it today with where is the okay.
You lost a tab.
I lost the bar. So here at some point we have, and here we are using ConvertKit, but at some point we have here this form. So I think that this is an iframe. Just
okay.
super
People still
dumb.
use iframes in
or not. No, I think here maybe it's just a script that creates the form dynamically, which could be another way of doing it.
Yes. I think it's the more modern way of doing so.
Yeah, and then maybe you can also have more control on the styling, because then you can provide your own CSS.
Yes, but for now, an iframe is enough.
Yeah, for now, let's just start with an iframe. How do you do in Chrome to bring up the... Is it F? No, I don't know.
I was expecting Tommaso to say something like JavaScript is overrated when simplicity is enough. Nothing like that.
Instead, it said a web component. Yeah, I know a guy that is creating a new one. Do you want to drop the link, Tommaso? Feel free to drop the link in the chat. Okay, so what is the only thing we need? So if we go back to our... Okay, let me close this guy there. If we go back here, we say that our form should have the campaign ID as a hidden field. So we definitely need here to have... actually, we need a couple of things. We need the URL. So we need...
What is the URL? We land with a URL like form/campaign ID, correct? So we have to get the campaign ID from from the path. We have to extract the campaign ID, and we have to pass this to the create form function. Okay, so we have the campaign ID and the target URL. So form action is going to / target URL in that string.
Yeah, so this is gonna be... how do you pass variables?
How do you interpolate? There's a format. Can you call it? Can't you call it inside the format?
Target URL.
See, but you have to put format, the format macro around it, I think.
And can we do a format with this thing? Let's see.
Let's see. The good part is that it will throw a type exception if it can't.
And we don't need to do form. Okay, that seems to work. So format already returns a string, so we don't need to do a toString.
Seems happy enough.
Okay, so here we need to have, rather than email, a name, we need to have email. And we need to have email and then type email. So we have a very rudimentary validation. Email.
You are so HTML5.
Email. And then we have an input type hidden, campaign ID, thank you Copilot, and then submit. This is super crappy, but it works.
Should work. Now, in the function handler, we should
something like that. Now, in the function handler, we should take the path parameter, not the query string parameter.
Yeah, we should take a path parameter. Yes, exactly.
So
that is the campaign ID, it's not the subscription ID.
Path parameters, and then get subscription ID.
Not the subscription. But it's not called the campaign ID.
You're right.
We don't have a subscription ID yet.
And now do we do unwrap? Okay.
How do you tell that the campaign ID is the second part of the URL after /form.
I thought that would happen by default.
Oh. The code is not aware of the URL or not?
I think it is because it's an event that comes from API Gateway.
So in the event is already there.
Yeah, I will split because what we do, we specify the event as, let's go here.
Go back in the template.
If we go to the
okay, so we
form
specified
where is the form one? There, form rendering function, we specify here campaign ID.
Okay, so it's already with that name because of this.
That's what I think. Now, is this the right syntax or it was like this? I honestly don't remember. So let's check.
What is AWS telling you in the API gateway?
Yeah, let's check there. If we go to prod, campaign ID, does it understand that?
If you call form / a random string like we did before, it was able to
if we
understand
do a test, campaign ID, so yeah, it's correct. It's populating.
Understanding it. Cool.
Okay, but now it doesn't like it for some reason. So this get is not what I thought. How do we get the value? So what is a query map? It's an hash map of string.
To vector of strings. To string to vector of string. Why
is it because I guess if it was an header or a query string parameter, you might have the same value repeated multiple times.
Oh yeah, it's true.
PHP. But in a path parameter, it doesn't make sense, right?
So isn't get what you do on an hash map?
I thought
you should
so.
have a get on hash maps.
So there is first. So first gives you the first occurrence of that.
Fine for us.
All gives you all. Is empty. Okay, so we can probably use first.
Yeah. Can you change the variable name in line 25?
To campaign ID.
Yeah, if you're sorry.
Okay. So now the problem is, how do we get the URL of the current API gateway? I think we need another environment variable. We have Panther in the chat. Thank you for the suggestion. Sorry, I read the message too late, but yeah, we got there eventually. Thanks a lot. Keep sending suggestion, please.
Can't you get the full URL in the template YAML when you created resource? I mean, if it was Terraform, when you create the API gateway resource, you can inject the output of that, the URL, inside the Lambda as a parameter.
So let's just say API gateway URL. And yeah, that should be it. And I think it's the same thing we have at the bottom in the output. Serverless API, execute API, region, prod. Yes. So we can do this. Yeah. Is it the same? It is the same. So what we can do here, we can read this environment variable. So let's do it here. We do let Actually, I wonder if this information is also in the event.
Probably.
So maybe it's probably a bit more reliable at that point. So let's say let.
I mean, passing it through an environment variable, if you have two API gateways, because you get super complicated, is better. But if you only have always one, you are on the. Also, even being an iframe, probably a relative URL will be enough. If you do an iframe, if you do a JavaScript injected, no, you should do the absolute URL to be sure.
Yeah, fair point. Both. So what do we want to do for now?
I try to extract the URL from the event. Do you have it?
So we do have a host header for sure. That should have the so event.payload. Payload is what, the body?
Payload is not what you get the post, if it's a post.
Yeah, probably. I wonder if you have host as a... You have headers get host, probably.
Oh god. Unwrap.
But this will only give you the host. It's not going to give you, for instance, the state.
No, it will not give you the protocol. It will not give you any path.
Then you can probably get event.path. Raw HTTP path. Is there some other raw thing? No, just raw HTTP path. Okay, I'm just gonna use the
environment variable
for now. Yes. So std env var okay, and then the last thing we need to do is let form submit URL equal to that, and the format is campaign ID, and that's it, right?
you don't have to put because that is the API gateway URL, but you have to add slash form / campaign ID.
Did we say form, right? Let's double check. We
in
said
post.
Yeah, form campaign ID. You're right. So form campaign ID. So
and the post is the same.
Okay.
You need a slash between the first.
No, because I added it in the environment variable.
Okay. Why you don't put a HI gateway inside the first couple of curly brackets?
Oh yeah, good point. That should work too.
I was asking if there was any reason. Just that.
It's just that this is the old syntax, and I'm still like, you couldn't do this in the past.
But you were half in the past and half in the present, so
I know.
Choose where to stay. I have nothing against the past, but I like consistency.
Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is let form HTML equal create form. Is all of that gonna work?
I think we have how it's called an add running.
Okay.
Oh, the cars from before. Create form can just accept the target URL without the campaign ID, because the campaign ID is in the URL. But yeah, but then we want the campaign ID is an input hidden field, even if it's in the URL. Why we have that both in as an input field and in the URL?
Good question. We don't need it as a...
We don't need it in both places.
Yeah, we can probably remove the hidden field.
Yeah, probably yes.
Let's remove it.
And remove the parameter in line 5 then.
Parameter in line 5, yes. Yeah, good point. And now we just need to remove it from here.
No, there we need it. No? No, we don't need it.
We just remove it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, why is it complaining here? Temporary value dropped while borrowed. Why?
Have you dropped something? Don't drop stuff.
Really? Do we need to do that? Okay, let's make Rust happy. Okay, should we just try to publish this and see if it works?
Yes, it should call.
You can probably run it locally.
Oh yeah.
What is it called? There is a way to run a local API gateway, which is, my memory today is terrible.
I did that last time, but I don't remember either. So
some local.
But you have to run that in another terminal, no?
Yes. So some local start API requires Docker. I don't have Docker running. I did.
Or are you one of those guys using Colima on the Mac?
I didn't have it running. Okay, let's retry. Still starting. What's going on? Oh, he wants to install an update.
It's update time.
Now it started.
No.
Come on, Docker PS works. I have it installed and running, trust me. Okay, let's restart Docker.
Okay, or let's deploy and use that remotely.
Probably it's going to be faster.
Have you ever used, instead of Docker, Podman or other more lightweight solution?
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
Okay, now
what I don't like of Docker is that sometimes it's so heavy, and I just want to run an image. I don't want to run that in perfect isolation. And in development, I just want to run it.
Okay, so we have here this. Which one do we want? The form campaign ID, right? So if we go, okay, didn't work. I need to do some build first.
Because it's starting the build. It's not building on itself. Okay. And it's building all 5 of them, but in theory, 5 of them should be fast build.
Because they didn't change, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Also, we didn't add any additional dependency, so hopefully it should be fast in general. Okay, let's restart. Cool. If we go to the browser now, we have a form. Beautiful. Let's see. Hello. Test. Is that valid?
Sorry.
Okay.
Destination can't be reached because what? You have the remote. I can't read, the URL is too small.
Server REST API. No, it didn't create the right URL. Oh yeah, because locally we didn't inject the environment variable correctly. Like locally doesn't know the value of that API gateway. Yeah. But it's not validating, which is disappointing because this should be.
It's not enough HTML5.
Yeah, I was
Should you declare in the header that is HTML5?
I think by default, if you just do HTML, it's HTML5. Anyway, we can add validation later. Yeah. So do we just want to deploy and see what happens?
Yes.
Oh, it is a valid email. Yes, because this is a domain. You're right. It could be
a local domain.
Let's just do not valid. Okay, that's good. Yeah, good point, Tommaso. Thank you. Okay, so some validate, lint, build, deploy. Circular dependencies for resource. Oh, right.
The gateway depends on the Lambda depends on the gateway now.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you solve that?
So we need to read the URL from the event, I guess.
Question: the Lambda itself that get the post, so the how is called it? This no, is the God, where is it? The subscribe Lambda as a URL.
The subscribe Lambda, the form, you mean?
Not the form. From the form you post, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The destination Lambda of that post does have a URL. Because if the first Lambda depends on the second Lambda, there is no circular dependency.
No, the problem is that the URL is given by API gateway. So it's...
So the Lambda is not aware of his own URL.
So it's basically we are saying this guy is a resource.
Yeah.
And what we are doing is that you need to create this resource first. Then you can attach it here. But because this resource depends on the URL of this one, we have a circular dependency. So it's basically this one is waiting for this to be created. This one is waiting for this to be created.
In theory, you should create the gateway, API gateway first, get the URL, and starting creating and attaching the Lambdas later. But SAM is not doing that.
Exactly, yeah.
So we need to take it from the request. So you have to remove it from the line 88.
So we need to remove it from here.
Yeah,
and we
have to take it in the code from the request itself.
Let's do a quick thing. If we go here, if we go to the Lambda, so form rendering function, if we do a test and we do HTTP, API gateway, AWS, HTTP API, that's the one. Okay, let's see an example of what we get. I hope that this is readable. So we have the raw path, which is what we need to get the path bit. And this is going to be the same path, right? Because we are just switching a get and a post. Then let's see if we get the URL somewhere. So there is a domain name, which is good in the request context. Here there is another path.
Or path for everybody.
Okay, so probably we can use the domain name from here. So request context domain name and concatenate it with the raw path.
We have the protocol somewhere.
I think the protocol is always HTTPS.
Yeah, fair enough. I was just curious.
I mean, I'm looking as well. It's not in this example. I don't know if it's an optional property that maybe they're not showing here.
Anyway, we have a domain and path. I think is enough.
So what do? We do, let's take let domain equal event dot context. Is there a context?
It was context.
Request context.
It was domain. You don't have domain?
What the hell is request context? Was it there? Yeah, request context.
No, it's not there.
Request context. Oh, it's an enum. How do we go to this guy? Because this is what we want. API Gateway v2.
With a match, if you do a match event request context, if you match that type, we work with the content. Otherwise, underline, we panic or we throw something.
So let's do request context.
What was the type in the other page that you were showing before? No, it's not
Why
some.
is some? Yeah, it's not.
Is that enum and between parentheses whatever. So
Which
API
is,
gateway v2. No, you have to write API gateway v2 there. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. And then if it's everything else, we say that.
Yeah, unsupported request. And we want API endpoint is called. Are you sure?
No, that was an
No, because it's
autocomplete.
complaining. That is Copilot
Is
hallucinating.
domain name.
Domain name.
What the hell is domain prefix?
Okay, here is still catching up. Change the variable name in line 29, if you don't mind.
No, I'm just curious if we can do this, and here we do let.
Yeah, we assign to domain name.
Is that gonna be?
You have to remove the semicolon.
Or it's not? Yeah, it's and yeah, that it's just an attribute. It's not a function. Now
It's
this
an
is an option.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just expect.
Okay, the path. No, we don't need the path. We go just with HTTPS domain name.
Now let me put a semicolon there. Yeah, we need to do also. Let's just do URL at this point. Sorry, post. What did we call it? Form submit URL. So let's just do this. Let's just do domain name. And here we do
You are doing
path.
that no, because we were interpolating in line 41. You want also to extract the path, okay.
Which was it there as well, right? Let's get the
I
example.
don't remember.
So there is a raw path that maybe we had anyway, but in the request context, we have HTTP path. So let's take that one. Or the raw path is different, maybe.
The raw path is in the main object. I would take the path, to be honest.
I'm wondering because you know that there is a stage there. Here we have stages. If we go to prod, there is like a prefix prod. So I wonder if this /prod is included or not.
No idea.
We can check, I guess, in production. Okay, let's just take the path for now. So this is going to be http.path.expect path not found.
But he's not happy about HTTP. Why is not happy about HTTP?
It's just
okay, because you. So now you don't need line 42 anymore.
And we don't need. We don't even need the campaign ID, right?
Will it be inside the path, the campaign ID? Yes.
It should be.
Okay, so no, we don't need that anymore.
Okay. So do we deploy and see what happens?
Path parameter is not needed anymore too. Line 37.
Right.
Yeah, deploy this because locally is impossible to test it.
Now, did we remove this guy? We did. Environment variable. Okay. Yes. Yeah, sorry, I realized that there were questions in the chat that I ignored. While the Lambda waits for the gateway, I think we replied on that one.
Yeah, we explained why.
Request context dot authentication contains the certificate, so it's HTTPS. Yes, I think API gateway is always HTTPS. It's more if you test locally, it's not HTTPS, but
yeah, if you want to add HTTP or HTTPS conditionally, we can check that, but we are coded. Yay.
Okay, yes, deploy.
So we change the gateway and the lambda.
Hopefully, should be fast enough. Cool. So this is done. So if we take this URL, what we can do is we can go here, form, test, internal server error. Look at that. Beautiful.
Perfect. If you open the inspector, what was our try? This is just the get?
Yeah.
Nice.
So we need to see the logs.
Where do we have the logs?
They should appear here.
Oh, we should go to CloudWatch.
Okay, let's see here. They might not have appeared yet. Did I run the correct function? Okay, let me test here. So if we do stages, prod, form campaign ID, get, prod, form. Did I use prod? Yes, prod, form, test. So if we do resources, get, let's test this one, and we say campaign ID, test.
Test.
Internal server error.
Okay.
So we did call the right one. Do we see the logs from here?
Do we see any Rust panic?
Here, error type unlock boxed in unsupported request context. Okay, so it did panic in here.
So it was not an API gateway v2?
I thought
what
so.
What was it?
API. Oh, it's a REST, so it's v1.
Okay, because v2 is...
Okay, we can do a hack and quickly switch to v2 because I think it's better, it's cheaper as well. The difference is that we need to change all of the events rather than type API. So let me do a beautiful...
It's not faster to change the code?
No.
Okay.
HTTP API.
Everywhere?
Did it change everywhere? Let's see. HTTP API. I think so. HTTP API. Okay, so now if we deploy again, this is going to take a little bit of time because...
Yeah, because it's deleting all the lambdas and creating again, or also getting rid of the API gateway.
Server REST API. Okay, so here is not server REST API, but what is it now? I don't remember how do you get for HTTP. Come on. Let's see if that works. It is valid.
Yeah, let's see.
At least there are no database credentials like PHP. Not yet.
In the context, it means...
Okay, so now it's deleting all the API gateway and recreating it entirely because it's a different type.
Can you mix the two types?
There will be two different API gateways, I guess.
Then at that point, you could... Sorry? At that point, you could pass the URL of one as an environment variable to the other.
Yeah, but it's not worth it, I think. Okay, we have a totally different URL. So if we go there and we go there and we change, what do we change? Is it going to be prod? Actually, I don't know that. Let's go here and check. If we go to API gateway, refresh. And yeah, it looks a little bit different, the options we have here.
Yeah.
But if we go there, what's the URL? Is there a prefix? Routes. Get. You don't even have a test in this version.
Are you sure that is better?
So this is the annoying thing with API Gateway. We can rant if you want for the next few hours. That you have these two versions with different pros and cons. It's not like one is better than the other. You will have this weird experience where certain things are better in the V1 and worse in the V2 and vice versa. Or certain features exist in V1 and not V2 and vice versa.
It say get the form campaign ID under root details, so I don't think there is prod.
Yeah, I don't think we have a prefix.
Yeah.
Integrations, form, get. So here, can we do a test? No configure.
From the browser. Come on.
Okay, let's be deploy stages. There you go. So there is a default, which, okay, doesn't have any prefix. So you were probably right. So we can remove this prod and just do form test. Forbidden, though.
Forbidden. Cool. So why are we forbidden?
Oh, come on. Is there an easy way to just get a URL? So if we go here and we do
/form / whatever.
Test. Okay, that works.
Oh, okay.
So maybe I was using the wrong URL. Maybe I was still using the old one.
Okay.
So if we inspect, what's the submit there? I'll make this bigger in a second. But it looks okay. There is a double slash there that we added, but other than that, it looks good.
So now, if you add something and you submit, it's going to.
It's gonna go to the other Lambda, which we haven't implemented.
That answers you something that makes no sense, but it works.
Okay, so let's do one couple of final changes, and then we can probably stop here for today. Tommaso has a good suggestion. We should put a required in the HTML attribute. So let's do that.
Oh, fancy HTML5. You don't have to write JavaScript.
Exactly. So
why?
required. And then what do? We need to remove
you
the
remove a slash there.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, and we can just commit this for now. So implemented first, if I can type crappy version of the form.
Of the first Lambda. Only 5 to go.
Only 5 to go. Perfect. Okay, should we call it here?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So you can find the recording on YouTube. The link is on Twitch in the About section. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do live streaming on Twitch every Monday, 6 p.m. Dublin time. Make sure to check the Twitch link in the YouTube description and give us a follow, thumbs up, and everything else. Feel free to leave us comments and open pull requests. Everything is well accepted. We are trying to learn Rust, so don't expect our solution to be the cleanest or more idiomatic ones. If you know better ways of doing things, please let us know. Thank you for the collaboration in chat. And are we going to write somebody? No? Yes?
Good question. I'm not ready for that, but let's do it. Yeah, let's do a quick
Some mad guy with a VI editor that is better than IntelliJ.
Yeah. Also, why is not... Oh, they changed Twitch. Generally, I see people that I follow. Here, now it's just showing me the entire Twitch. But yeah, let's
that's dangerous.
Hopefully, he's going to find something interesting. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.